2 all-new Dogman stories, beginning with Wolfman in my bathroom. Dear Scary Stories NYC, I have a werewolf or a Dogman story. I'm not sure which. It didn't happen in the woods at night or anything like that. Well, I guess it was night, but not the woods. I was at home when it happened, and it's made it impossible for me to feel safe in my own house any longer. My husband thought it was a sleep paralysis event at first, but, well, let me just tell you the story in order as it happened to us. This was only last week, although it took me a few days to decide if I wanted to write you about it. My husband is the one who actually listens to your show regularly. I've only heard it a couple of times myself. But I don't really like scary stuff. And I don't like the stigma attached to people after they go public with information about these strange things. I've already been insulted by some of my so-called friends when I told them about this, so I'd rather stay anonymous in his email. I'm not going to read the comments of your video. I expect them to be harsh and mock me. My husband says he'll let me know if anyone says anything I would want passed on to me. Okay, I'm taking a deep breath and now let's go. I had a very rough day that day, and I decided to stay up a little later than usual and take a long, hot bath. I burned some incense that I like and played some soft music, and I melted into that hot water. It was so beautiful. I closed my eyes and imagined that I was in warm waters, floating by a tropical island. I could feel the breeze on my face. I could hear the surf. It was very magical. Then I wondered if I could hear animal sounds on my imaginary island, so I listened. Instead of birdsong or some pleasant sound, I heard a deep growling sound, like a lion mixed with a gorilla, and the sweet aroma of the incense was replaced by the foul stench of a filthy carnivorous predator from the zoo. Surprised, I opened my eyes, and there was a man-sized creature in the bathroom with me. I said it was man-sized, but it was not man-faced. In fact, it had a face like a sort of a coyote, I guess you could say, except the coloring was pretty much solid gray, the same shade of gray all over, although he seemed wet in places, and that fur was obviously darker. His hands, that's right, he had hands like a person, not dog paws. His hands were partially in the water like that old commercial from when I was a kid. Dishwashing liquid? You're soaking in it. Gosh, that must be a reference to 1970. Better find another way to explain. I'm trying to say there was a man-sized werewolf entirely solid gray, covered in fur all over. Its head was kind of like a gray coyote if such a thing exists, but it had shoulders like a human, and its furry arms were shaped like a human's arms as well. Its wrists rested on the edge of the bathtub, and the fingers were dangling down into the water. That is the image I have in my mind. I remember I looked down to see his fingers getting wet up to maybe 2 knuckles deep. He was dipping them in and out, and judging by the look on his face, he seemed to be enjoying the sensation. He had a kind of a faraway expression on his canine face, and almost a smile, I guess you would say. All of these memories took place in maybe 1 second or 2. I remember it had fingers and hands, and that it seemed to be in ecstasy feeling my hot water in the tub. And then I remember looking at me, and starting to lean in toward me. Now, I don't know if that creature was leaning in to kiss me, to smell me, or to bite my face off, but I had not invited him to get any closer. I mean, I hadn't invited him into my bathroom in the first place. I don't think my response was the best in the world because I panicked. I just splashed water and screamed as loud as I could. I also closed my eyes, partially to keep the soap out of my eyes as it splashed around, and partially because I didn't have covers to pull up over my head. I was like a little kid who closed her eyes because she just didn't want to see the monster anymore. I heard a scuffling and banging sound, which I hoped was my husband rushing to the bathroom to rescue me. When I dared open my eyes again, however, there was no husband. The werewolf was gone as well. I didn't know what that scuffling and banging sound was, but I figured it had to have been the werewolf or Dogman running out of the bathroom. And that meant he was probably somewhere inside my house now. Carefully, I wrapped a towel around myself and proceeded out into the hallway. It was dark and quiet. I tiptoed over to the door to our bedroom, and I thought I heard growling coming from inside. My husband was inside there, sneakily. I cracked the door open and I peeked inside. That wasn't growling, it was snoring. My husband had slept through the entire thing. I woke him up to tell him what happened, and it only led to an argument. He was not impressed with my encounter's story. He told me it was not possible for an animal to sneak into our house and wander upstairs to the bathroom on the second floor while I was bathing. He insisted that it was just sleep paralysis. He said I was dreaming, but it seemed as though I were awake. We shouted at each other for a while, then I got dressed to go shopping in the middle of the night. We only needed one or two things, but I wanted to blow off steam and allow my husband a chance to cool off as well. When I got back, it was dawn, and I found my husband standing out in front of our house, talking to one of our neighbors on the block. Well, don't you know that this neighbor was asking my husband if he had seen a large and strange-looking, get this, a large and strange-looking dog earlier that morning. Turns out this neighbor had seen a similar but slightly different creature an hour or two earlier. It was walking around on his roof outside his second-story window. The one that this guy saw had silvery fur that went from almost white to almost black. Not the solid gray of the bathtub-loving one I saw. My husband stood back and allowed me and the neighbor to compare notes. We both agreed that we needed to bolster security on our homes and properties, and we agreed to work together mapping out security for both our properties at once. My husband just looked sheepish and kept out of our way. Since then, he's been very apologetic, and I know he won't tell me I imagine things so quickly the next time. As crazy as it sounds, though, I have not personally thrown out the paranormal or supernatural hypotheses. We never did find a way that the dog ape could have got into our house. Nothing was unlocked and no glass was broken. Since then, we've installed an alarm system and security cameras both inside and outside. But we weren't sure what else to do about this, since we found no proof that we had even had our security breached, other than my sighting. So maybe it really was paranormal or extra-dimensional or something odd like that. Maybe the creature didn't come in from the outside. Maybe he walked in and out through some portal here inside our own home. Maybe that was the one time in history that the portal was active, or maybe it is a constantly open doorway even as I type this. My husband went from thinking I dreamed this to believing that a strange species of upright dog lives in the woods near us. He doesn't seem to even understand what I'm saying when I start to talk about portals and other dimensions, so I don't press the issue with him. It's enough that he accepts what I say now, so I don't want to push him too hard. I mean, he's doing the best he can. I almost wish he could see the creature himself, but I don't suppose I really want to wish that on anyone, especially not on my husband. Still, I wonder if our house is haunted and if this might happen again, or if what I and my neighbor experienced that one bizarre night was restricted to that one specific moment in time. I apologize that my story doesn't fit into either the category of a normal werewolf or dogman sighting on the one hand, or a ghost story on the other. Maybe it's more of a glitch in the Matrix story in the end. Maybe both those werewolves or dogmen were as confused about how they ended up in our neighborhood as we were. Maybe it won't ever happen again. Or maybe the dogman is teleporting into my attic or bathroom even as I type this. Once you have an experience like this happen to you, the only thing you're sure of from then on is that you are sure you have no idea what's going to happen next. Ever.
What bigger than a waffle on your plate? A waffle on your head could be just great. It's the waffle beanie from NYC. for spring. You see black, birch, camel, navy, rust, or heather gray. One of these colors is just your way. Wear this hat and you'll be it. Link in the description for this vid. Get your own scary stories, Waffle Beanie today.
Paranormal Werewolf thinks he's my friend. Dear Scary Stories NYC, I've had a situation since I was a teenager where a paranormal entity comes and sleeps with me in my bedroom at night. It started when my family moved into this house, and the entity, which appears to me sometimes as a large dog and other times as more of a werewolf than anything else, has only grown more possessive of me as the years have passed. I am hoping to get accepted into a college and move out by the end of this year. All of the colleges I am applying to are out of state, and I am concerned about what the wolf might do if I'm no longer here to spend the night with him. I want it clear this is not about anything dirty. He comes and lies with me the way a dog will when he wants to protect you, or sometimes if he just wants to share body heat on a cold night. He usually climbs up and sleeps over my pillows, leaning over my head as I sleep as though he wanted to protect me from imaginary rain coming through the roof. The first time I saw him, I admit I was terrified, but my fear of him did not last more than the first few nights. You couldn't really blame me for being nervous when I woke up to find a tall, dark, Batman-looking guy standing over my bed, staring down at me with eyes that glowed like that old Batman cartoon show from the TV. They weren't bright white, but they were bright, especially in the darkness. I thought I had passed away and wound up in hell, and this was the devil, deciding what he was going to do to torture me first. I ducked down under my covers, and when I peeked out again, the spirit was gone. I didn't tell anyone about it that first day because I wasn't sure if I dreamed it. The next night I saw the beast again, but I felt his warmth first. How many ghosts are said to be warm to lie next to? Yet I can always feel warmth up above my head. And when I look, there's a big friendly-looking doggy lying there across the top of my bed. I remember seeing him there the first time. He moved his paw in front of his snout, and it looked like he was going shh to me. It made me laugh out loud, and he seemed to smile. I settled back down to sleep, happy to have a friendly, warm dog to sleep with. When I woke up in the morning, there was no dog, and I wondered what that was all about. I remember when I wasn't really awake yet asking my mother where she thought the dog went to that morning. It kind of became a little joke that I had an imaginary dog friend, but he wasn't imaginary to me. I never named him. He was the dog, or the big sleepy dog, things like that. He was never Rover or Fido. I never thought of him as a pet or an ordinary animal, but he was warm and he was friendly and he was real, at least at night, when we were alone, and I obeyed his suggestion to shh. My father got me a real dog so that I would outgrow this so-called imaginary dog. The new pooch was named Snowy, even though he wasn't all white. And Snowy was okay. He was a nice little dog, but he was scared of my room, and he never grew too attached to me either. He became my father's dog instead. Snowy would sleep on Dad's lap when football games were on TV. I hadn't asked for that dog, so it wasn't like my father felt he could pressure me to take care of the little pooch. Besides, I had a dog already. No, that's wrong. I don't have the sleepy dog. The sleepy dog has me. I'm his turf, not the other way around. I used to figure that he was a dog that had lived in this house before we moved in, and that still might be the case. But this dog isn't just a canine. He often walks around like a man. When he does, he sure looks scary. His eyes glow like a demon from a movie, and the dog ears up on top start to look like horns in the night. I did have a Christian friend in school who insisted I had a demon in my bedroom. He said ghosts are cold, but demons are hot. But the sleeping dog has never actually been hot. He's warm. Living things are warm, demons are hot. This is some kind of living something, that's what it seems like to me. I don't know where it goes when he's not here, but I do think he goes somewhere. I do think there's some explanation that makes total sense. It's probably so simple an explanation that when I realize it, I'm going to laugh out loud. In fact, that's exactly what's already happened to me in several dreams. In the dream, I learn who or what the sleepy dog actually is. And when I do, it's so obvious that I can't believe I never noticed before. I wake up laughing, but then as I sit up, I'm already forgetting what was so funny. I'm already forgetting the answer, the explanation for what the sleepy dog really is. He's not a demon, I know that much. I wouldn't be laughing, it wouldn't be funny, if he were a demon from hell. Trust me, that would not make me chuckle. The answer to the sleepy dog is also the answer to so many things, that the world of humanity will be changed forever, once we can remember that answer after we've woken up. Right now, we can only find the answer in dreams, and the golden nuggets of truth become fool's gold by the morning light. One of the drawbacks of the sleepy dog is that I only ever had one sleepover with my friends here, and it didn't go very well. Everyone argued all night, and two of my friends got up to go home at 2 a.m., never explaining why. I just don't think the sleepy dog liked having so much company in his room. I didn't like having to sleep over other places either. Although I don't really have any dramatic anecdotes to relate on that score, I never felt well when I was sleeping over with a friend. I'd usually be in the bathroom half the night feeling ill. I never wanted to go away to summer camp or go away anywhere in the summer either. My parents got a cabin in the woods to go to in the summer, and I only went one time with them. After that, I'd stay home and watch the house while they went, since I was 16 by then and I was able to fend for myself with the help of the neighbors. But now things are getting serious because I do want to have a career of a particular type. And there are no colleges to study that specific discipline near where the sleepy dog and I are currently living. I'm going to have to go to a different state, and not for just 4 years either. I'm going to have to move permanently. This home is only going to be a place to visit once I start moving toward that career. So what is going to happen between me and my mysterious nighttime friend? I wonder if the dog will come with me. Or will it just go dormant until someone else it likes moves into my old bedroom? Since I don't really know what the dog is, I can't predict what it will do once I move. I will try to talk to him about it, but not yet. I don't really know what my plans are yet. I also don't really know what the dog understands from what I tell him. When I speak, does he hear words or does he just hear vocalizations? Can he hear my thoughts? Or are we just two animals sharing body heat in the cold night? I have to admit, I keep thinking back to my Christian friend from junior high school, who insisted that the dog was a demon. What if the sleepy dog gets angry at me leaving here? That's the part I'm sort of nervous about. I've never seen him angry. I've only ever seen him sleepy. I don't even know if he has an angry side. And I hope I never find out if he does. On Land of the Lost, they had Little Chaka, and this guy's films are named Malaka. Please join me in thanking Malaka Films, who became a channel member of our channel and now gets to see secret uncensored Dogman stories, which come out 4 times a month. Why our latest was so uncensored I can't even give you a censored version of the title. If you'd like to be like Malaka Films and see our absolutely unspeakable secret uncensored stories, then you probably want to listen to what this next little guy has to say. Hank? Thanks, Biggie. And thanks to all of you for watching this far. If you liked it, please click like. If you'd like to see more of our work, please subscribe. And also click that bell icon if you'd like to be notified when we put out a new episode. To become an executive producer, you can donate to us through the thanks button under each of our videos or through our paypal.me/PeterBernard209 page. To receive cool perks like secret uncensored Dogman episodes far too wild to ever run on this channel, you can become a YouTube channel member by clicking the join button, or join our PayPal subscribers club at peterbernard.com. Joining either at the $3 a month level or above gets you access to our over 25 hours of secret uncensored Dogman stories available nowhere else. Do you have a scary story about Dogman or some other kind of high strangeness that happened to you? Let us know by emailing us at scarystoriesnyc@gmail.com or by leaving us a voicemail message at 804-LA-SCARY. You may need to call back on that one. It cuts off after, I think, 3 minutes. And if you don't want to do any of that stuff, thank you for simply watching to the end. Good night, and have a scary tomorrow.
Come back for more scary stories.